Boba Fett? Boba Fett? Where? That's how I'm feeling right now. You know why? Because apparently a Boba Fett movie was announced? Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Hello, my friends. I'm Andrew Fantasia, and welcome to this special bite-sized thumb together. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and give some love to that subscribe button as well. Guys, let's talk about this Boba Fett movie that is rumored to be in the works. And I'm using the word rumored because there's a lot of fancy big city journalists out there who like throwing around their $5 words like confirmed. And frankly, I'm not having that. I haven't seen anything yet. I've read reports from Hollywood Reporter. I've read some reports from Screen Rant. I've done some digging, and everything is just based on conjecture right now, and everything is based on rumor and speculation. And I have not seen an official statement saying, yes, Lucasfilm confirms Boba Fett slated for whatever date by James Mangold. And until I hear that, until that gets into my ears and makes sweet love to my canal in there, I am not buying it. However, I think it's likely that this is going to happen. I think it makes sense because Boba Fett's popular, I guess. But here's the thing, gang. Here's how I'm feeling. I'm sorry I called you a gang. That was presumptuous of me. I'm sure you guys, stay within the boundaries of the law. But here's the thing. I am not a super hardcore Boba Fett fanboy. But I'm not a Boba Fett hater. I don't think he's a garbage character. I don't think he's useless. I think he's a cool-looking dude with a cool minor part, and he served his purpose. Do I want to see more Boba Fett? Yes. Yes, I do. Do I want to see Boba Fett a Star Wars story? Nah. I'm good. Some characters suit being zoomed in on, while other characters are better suited to dominate from the background. And yes, Boba Fett is cool. And yes, his adventures are fun. And yes, I would love to see him again. But there's a line that exists. And I feel like to make Boba Fett a Star Wars story would be to cross that line. Remember, we can't really have an origin story like we did for Han. Because there is a Boba Fett origin story. And it's called Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. A.k.a. the best prequel in the Star Wars saga. So origins are off the table. The story of how he went from that Colosseum on Geonosis to becoming the guy in the helmet that we all know, I don't really care for that. And we got a lot of cool little snippets in the Clone Wars cartoon. You have to remember, the Clone Wars cartoon got a lot of Boba Fett up in there to the point where he was like the Richard Alpert of that show for all my Lost fans out there. He would pop up, at least once or twice per season and just be like, hey, here I am, remember me? I'm becoming that badass bounty hunter you guys all know. So that origin, the origin of how he went from being orphaned on Geonosis to being a bounty hunter, has also been told to me in a way that I find satisfying. And I don't think we need a 2.5-hour movie about the origin of him deciding, I'm going to paint the helmet green. Just because. So that time period, I don't think that can work. However, here's what I think can work. We've been saying ever since way back in the day when Josh Trank was rumored to be attached to a Boba Fett film. You've heard us say that instead of a Boba Fett movie, what would be even cooler would be a bounty hunter movie and have Boba Fett just be one of the bounty hunters. That is 100% something I can get on board with. I love Westerns, and I love particularly The Magnificent Seven. I think that's one of the best Westerns ever made. And what's great about The Magnificent Seven is it takes these 7 characters, these gunslingers from all different walks of life with all different personalities, and brings them together and forces them to do a job together. And spoilers, not all of them make it out of that job alive. If you take that same concept and just do it with bounty hunters, done. I am sold. I'm going to buy every toy. I'm going to be there first opening day. I would love a bounty hunter Magnificent Seven. Especially if, you throw in the likes of somebody like Bosk, somebody like Cad Bane, or a Sing. You could make up a lot of great new bounty hunter characters, introduce them in the script. Personally, I want to see Embo, the guy with the hat. Him and Cad Bane, as long as they're in it, I'm good. And Bosk, too. Bosk is cool. But there's so many bounty hunters you can work with, is the point I'm trying to make. And Boba Fett can be one of those bounty hunters. And what's cool about him is while the other bounty hunters are very eccentric and loudmouthed, and Bosk would put his feet up on a chair and be like, I hunt Wookiees, ah! And Cad Bane will be there with his cowboy hat, and he'll be like, I'm the gunslinger. Everybody's got their own cool little quirk. Boba Fett can be the guy who's standing at the back of the room, leaning against the door, and he's not saying much, and people are talking about the plan, and eventually somebody turns around and is like, hey, you want to contribute to this? Do you have anything to say? And he's like, it's a good plan. Let's go. That's Boba Fett to me. I think that is a pretty good approximation of what this dude is like, and it fits in with that. If you have this guy as the main character, if you have him as the Solo, like we just saw in Solo, then I'm sorry, but I don't think that he's going to be very interesting in that role. And granted, I mean, I prefer him to keep his helmet on. Maybe some people want him to take it off, in which case we'd need Temuera Morrison to come back. I can't picture anybody else playing that role. I know Daniel Logan is getting to be the right age-ish, but if it's adult Boba Fett, you might as well use Temuera Morrison. The other option is, for the longest time now, I've been saying I am shocked that they have not released a comic book about Boba Fett's adventures after he gets out of the Sarlacc pit. Of course, we all know in old legends now, Boba Fett got out of that pit post-haste, and he started he became like this king in Mandalore, and he was like a good guy after. It was a lot of stuff. Legends is weird. The point I'm trying to make is we all know back in Legends he got out of the pit just fine. That has not been confirmed yet in new canon. They've hinted that his armor was found in Aftermath, but that's it. I was expecting like a comic that heralds, Boba Fett's alive, he got out of the Sarlacc pit, and this comic is his ongoing adventures. I thought that was like a shoo-in. That would be like a license to print money. I'd have no idea why Marvel didn't do that. But if they're going to go ahead with a movie, there's a pretty interesting place to set it, too. This whole Magnificent Seven thing doesn't have to be, during A New Hope times. This can take place after Return of the Jedi. In fact, I think that would be a better place for it, especially considering what we saw in the Aftermath books. Because remember, Return of the Jedi killed the Empire, essentially, so a lot of stuff was thrust into chaos, and it created a lot of power vacuums. And when you have power vacuums, you have calamity, you have people trying to fill those vacuums and assert their dominance. And that sounds like the kind of person where somebody would say, oh, that guy's trying to assert dominance over my village. I'm going to hire 7 bounty hunters to show him what's what. And there you go. So that is what I would want to see out of a Boba Fett film. James Mangold did a great job with the Wolverine. He did a great job with Logan. I think he can handle a story about, these lone wolf kind of people getting together, but if it's just Boba Fett, I'm sorry, you would really need to sell me on that, because I'm not sold. So let me know, guys, what do you think about this announcement? Remember, right now it is not an official announcement. Lucasfilm has not made any official press release, and we know how they work. They would make an official press release. So until then, don't listen to these big city reporters and YouTubers with their confirmed nonsense, because that's not confirmed yet. But thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm Andrew Fantasia. Chime in the comments. Let me know what you think of this Boba Fett movie, and I will see you here next time. Until then, adios. And remember, he's no good to me dead. Wow, that was a terrible Boba Fett. Oh my God, don't hire me, Disney.